Don't let the poor exception handling to be the single point of failure in your production ready Spring Boot API. The key to robustness is centralization. So by making use of the @REST controller annotation and the specific @exception handler on the methods, you can clearly separate the error logic from the business logic. In this video, we are going to show you how to map this particular Java exceptions to the correct HTTP status codes, how to create a consistent, non-sensitive error message objects like the problem details, and crucially, how you can avoid the internal informations like stack traces. So master these techniques so that you can transform your application from brittle to truly enterprise grade application. So in this video, we are going to discuss about the best practices in the exception handling for a Spring Boot application, how you can effectively write those. And if you are developing your application for a production, these are the must and the important, you need to follow them. So the very first thing I would like to discuss about the centralized and the consistency. So this is going to be the very core part. The single most important practice is centralizing your error handling. Now it is going to ensure your uniform response format across your entire application. So wherever your application is getting failed up, there is a common way to handle it and also a common message to respond. Okay, so entire application is following a standard format. Now there is an annotation called @REST controller. If you have heard of it, this is one of the important annotations. So you can actually create one single class with that particular @ControllerAdvice. Okay, and you can catch all the exceptions which are thrown in your application, in your controller service, etc. anywhere. Now what is the benefit of this? This is going to keep your controller method very clean. There is no requirement of writing any try catch block or a business logic over there. So this is called a separation of concern. Also, this is going to guarantee that the client is always receiving a predictable common error message as a format. Okay, then there is an exception handler which is going to if you write that particular inside this particular annotation around about the particular method, then you can define specific kind of exceptions which you need to handle. Example, we have resource not found exception. Okay, so this is a class which I have actually annotated. If you see here, so this is going to automatically route wherever there is going to be a throw exception for that corresponding handler method. So this is going to construct the appropriate response entity message. There is going to have the status code in the body and etc. All the information will be added in that. So this is how you write an appropriate, centralized and a consistent error handling mechanism across your application. Now the first thing what we discussed is the core part. The second whatever we are going to discuss is going to be the API response. Okay, API standardization. This is called API standardization. Now if you take a look at this, now if you open, there is a problem factory over here. Now this is, if you take a line number 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, you will see all the status, title, instances, timestamp, all these particular details are there. So what you are doing over here is that there is an API response which is having a standardized response over here. Okay, so let's say if you are implementing a standard array object, okay, and let's say you define a custom class, let's say API error response or an API error. So you're going to make use of the bodies to all the error messages. So there will be a timestamp, there will be a status, there will be a error message, there will be a message, there will be a path. So all this status code, human readable phrases you can add, like it is not found, something like that. Or let's say you say user with id as not found, so you can have the message itself embedded in that. Then you can define the urls of the particular path. So this is going to be an advanced way. Now we'll discuss an advanced way which is going to have this particular problem details for your https api standards. So this is going to give you a structured JSON or an XML response format, which is going to carry all your details. Okay, so Spring Boot has got a support for this. If you go to this particular class, you must have seen that this has got all the details, and this is specifically now we are handling in a latest version of Spring Boot and Spring. Now, if you take a look at this, this is going to be the Spring Boot. If you see, which is a version Spring 6.2. Okay, so this is the latest version of the Spring. Okay, so this is where it is going to make use of it. Now let me go to the line numbers over here to explain you. Now if I open this particular class, that is problem detail factory, you will see there is an http status handler, right? Yeah, so here if you see, there is a problem over the status, timestamp, all these properties are mentioned here. So that is where you write this. Now where to map this particular correct http status code, we have to go to the global exception handler over here. Now if you take an example, let's say 40, this is not found, right? If you see, this is 404. Okay, this is going to be mapped up to the resource not found exception. If you see here, okay, so it means that resource is not found, and you can throw this particular exception over here. Let's say you wanted to throw a bad request exception. Okay, so if you go to this over here, this is going to be throwing a bad request. Now you see, this is going to throw a 400 error, that is bad request over here. Okay, so this is how you can actually handle. There is an exception handler, so wherever in your application it is going to handle, you can move that. Now let's say I have 66 line number. If you take a look at this, this is going to be again a validation bad request, but you see there is a proper validation message over here given over here, and you are setting those properties. If you see, okay, so you are setting those property and sending it as a response over here. If you see a response entity, okay, so this is how you do that. Then you can have this particular constraint violation kind of things. So if you look at this particular at line number 80, okay, so here I have mentioned some constraint violation has happened. You can define some violations details over here, like let's say what are the violations, and then you can put it over there, and then you can define. Then you can have lot other bad request. Then if you go to the line number 133, okay, so here if you see, it is unauthorized over here. Okay, now what it is, 401. Okay, this is one form of authentication status which says that it is an unauthorized. Okay, so it is going to not allow or not allowed to access those. Then if you see 136, there is an access denied, so which is actually a 403. So 401 was unauthorized, 403 is a forbidden. So your access denied for that access. Then laterally we have the internal server error, which is 500. So any other exceptions which are not been particularly handled above, and also like in general you wanted to handle those, or else you wanted to have that particular details full stack trace, then you can define this particular custom things over there. Okay, so you can define all this over there. Then at the third thing, you can define your own custom exception handling business logic over here. Now when I say custom, okay, so you can create your own exception class over there. So if you see here, this is nothing but an custom exception class which we have created over here. So these are all application specific errors, like you can actually create some user not found exception. There are some insufficient balance exceptions. So you can create your unchecked exception by extending your runtime exception over here. Okay, and then you can do that. The benefit of this is that you are throwing this specific exception which are related to your specific, let's say, service layer, your application. So you are keeping that cluttering things in that particular specific message which is going to throw that things. So it is going to avoid those checked exception. You can actually write the @controller_advice and handle them. So there are some you can avoid some generic catches also that are there in the business logic. So never use the generic try catch block exception, okay, unless you are using anything. You have already handled all those in the specific above, or else like the throwable also. So this is in your service or the controller, unless you are trying to recover it, okay, then only you try to do it. Is going to be very very rare. So let the exception bubble up, okay, so they will automatically be caught by this particular @controller_advice, which is globally handling those particular things. So this is how you handle those. Now if you take a look at, let's say, in this particular runtime exception I just showed you, right? So if I open this particular class resource not found exception over here, if you see, this is line number 3 and 4, like the name is extension of that, and then you are trying to define those things, right? Then you can actually go to a user service class, okay. So here you are trying to avoid some generic business logic over here. What you have to do, like you, if you take a look at this particular from here to other things, I'm trying to handle those no try catch block exception that is going to bubble up naturally. So if you take a look at the line number, this logic, right? So this is going to handle your validation logic over here. So this is going to throw some bad request. Let's say it is going to it can actually happen that there is throwing a bad request over here. Then you can actually find at line number 30, if you see, there is going to throw resource not found exception. So if you see here, this is going to throw that exception, okay. So in this way you are trying to handle the missing users over here. You're trying to say that user is not, user ID is missing, user ID is not found, or that specific email is been found, like that, okay. So here you see bad request exception, okay. So this is one more specific exception class which you have written over here, and again you're trying to extend it, okay. So if you take a look at this hierarchy, it is again coming from the exception, and if you exception, it is going to be throwing to the okay. So this is how you go to the hierarchy and see like what exactly have been defined over there. Then comes handling the security and loggings over here. Now there are leaks of stack traces, so you can actually make use of that. Now what happens on the server side is that it should not been seen by the client side. So whatever it is happening at this server side, you should have that particular I would say abstraction thing, right? Not everything should be exposed to the client, okay. So never leak your stack trace as it is, okay. So the error message is which you're going to send back to the client should never have the stack trace. So there will be some internal variable names, there will be some internal error messages, there might be some database specific details. So this is going to be an security risk if you share this particular information. Now how to handle this? Now there is an @controller method. We can use the exception message for logging, but you are going to only return the specific non-sensitive message to the client. So let's say you are trying to log everything in the context, right? So the best practice is always use @controller_advice, which is going to fully log that information, fully stack trace it, and then you can request your URL and other information inside that, like you have the user ID, transaction ID. Now why you need to do this? Because it will give the details to the debug, so that if there is an issue in the production, you doesn't have to worry about that, but the client does not have that particular information. Now generically, if you say like after handling all the specific exception, there will be a generic exception which you have to handle. So the better thing is that we already discussed that we need to have this particular if you take a look at this, the generic specific exception which is already written over here, if you take at the end of this particular year, if you see, this is the general thing which is going to handle every exception which is not been expected to be handled up. So even if there is something which you have not specifically handled, this will be taken care. So you can always put the logs over here. You see there I am putting all the logs over here. So try to I have the error logs over here. Now if you take a look at this, others are warning, other might be, this all warning, some have information. Okay, but make sure if you are throwing at the exception, which is going to be the generalized and the last attempt to catch that exception or throw an exception, then you have to have the error message has to be defined over there. Okay, so I hope I was able to explain you a lot in details about how to handle, what are the best practices in order to in Spring Boot, how you can handle the exception in a better way. If this video has given you some value, please subscribe to my channel. Also, give a thumbs up. Also, check out my channel where you will see lot of Java, Spring Boot, and microservices. Along with that, lot of interview videos has been uploaded where candidates has got lot of higher packages. Also, these questions are asked in the real world interview questions. So make sure you watch them. Thank you.